So we have for the next one for auto is Midpage. Midpage is an AI-powered legal research platform used by thousands of litigators and law students to find cases, take notes, and create work product. Otto is their co-founder and CEO, and he's here to show off some of what Midpage can do. Otto, if I missed anything, feel free to tell the audience.
Awesome. Yeah, great to be here. Lots of good talks. We're based in New York, and now that Casetext is apparently shutting down after being acquired, maybe it's time for a new legal research tool to sort of fill the gap of the young upcoming one. And I'm happy to just show you a demo of what you can do. Of course, the main pitch is that since we can now take the case law data that is out there, we have a really good data set, and use language models to make a really good interface on top, we can build something that is hopefully even much better than Casetext ever was. And I want to show you how we've first built a magic way to search for cases, and then also a magic way to read for cases. And yeah, the idea is, and I hope sort of you come to the same conclusion, is that every time you open a case, you'll even save several minutes. So it's sort of very tangible. And let me just share my screen now. Okay. This should be visible now, and I'm just going to start. So like always, this is a place where you can search for cases. So I'm just going to start on an example. And as always, you can use your Boolean connectors if you want. And in this example, this is about a non-compete case. And we have some questions about the enforceability. And let me actually pick a jurisdiction. Makes more sense in this example. And yeah, the first thing you'll notice is that it does seem a bit familiar. It is a list of cases as results. But even though it looks similar, the results are actually quite different. So if you remember the old days before Midpage, these excerpts and previews here, they try to tell you what this case is about. But this was based on old technology. This was sort of based on keywords, and you often probably had those moments where it didn't actually tell you what you wanted to know. And you didn't actually know, is this a good case or not? And then you do have to open the whole thing and start reading without really knowing where. And this is the first thing, about the search that we want to make much better. It looks similar, but these results are selected by AI based on multiple of your past searches and sort of other things you know about your case. And it's just really on point at picking good quotes that are informative and that are good places to start. And group by topic. So if I want to look about what does it say about the enforcement conditions, I can just click in here, and it brings me to that section of that case. And that, I think, is a great starting point. Now, when we built this, we thought, how can we really be the most helpful in search? What you actually often do is you will have multiple questions, say 5 different questions about all of these cases, and you really want to find one that satisfies all of them. But you want to see the results. You don't want to just get an answer. You want to see the process of getting to the answer. And so to do this, we think the best way is what I'm going to show now. Let's say I want to know, one of my questions is, what is the duration of the non-compete? I can just add a question, add a new column. And I can type anything in here. This is my question. And now you see it's going to use basically ChatGPT under the hood, and it answers that question for each of those cases. And you can see 3 years, 6 months, 24 months. And every time we'll give you sources so you can open the document at that section. And let's say I have a second question. What is the geographic coverage? And I can add as many questions as I want. And this is a really structured way to get an overview of the search results. And let's say, let's maybe dive into this case real quick. So just click on the link, and it brings me to that section of the case where I find the quote that I was looking for. So these two things are already just really helpful and structured. I can use this to understand my search results better, or I can save several cases and then compare them in much more detail later when after I've done maybe the first pass over my search. So this is all quite straightforward. I can maybe remove these columns again. If I say I like this case, I can bookmark it. It lands in my notebook. You see the sort of little indicator here where all my notes go. Can add this one as well. And maybe because I noticed this one was not for me, I can hide this case. So it's still visible, but you know that you marked it as not good. And this is an easy way how to build up a repository of good cases. And then if I go over here, I have all this collection. I can add my columns again, and I can start really digging into those. And once you're done with that, you might say, oh, I want to send this to my colleague or to my partner. It's very easy just to copy this over to an email, and it'll look exactly like this. All the links to work. You can also copy it to Word and all that. Maybe even if to get a step further, if you don't like the answer and you want to reword it, you could just edit this text here and write your own. So that's the search. That's how you sort of do something with the cases, like organizing and sharing work product. I have one more thing, which I think is very cool. I already showed, adding 2 columns that were questions. But we did, notice over time there are some questions that the users were asking over and over, and so we added them as an example that you can use. And one that is used a lot is the compare facts feature. So often you have some details about your own case. Maybe your client, wrote you an email and you have a list of bullet points of what actually happened. And often it's really helpful just to say, here are all my facts. Now tell me, how's this case that I'm looking at similar or different? And we can do this. If I click on compare facts, it actually tells me, in order to help you here, you first have to tell me about your case. And this is sort of why when I click here, it opens a section over there. I can just tell it about what happened in my case. This works by uploading a complaint or by just leaving some notes there. I'm just going to copy this over. And these are just simple bullet points. This is all optional, but it makes it work even better. And I'm going to fill in the motion type, a preliminary injunction, because in this example case, I actually want to prevent my client's former employee from working at a competitor. And I want this to be granted. And now ready to go. So now this is just like some background about my own case. This is actually not just used in this one feature, but everywhere. Every single feature can now use this data to be even more helpful and even more tailored, like a much more customized, head notes and so on. And so I said I want to compare my facts, and so I can just add this one extra column that is called compare facts. And it gives me a list of similarities and some differences for each case compared to mine. And this is really helpful because it's a great, overview of, you can see this case is actually a nationwide, and mine is limited to California, or the other way around. Yeah, and then I'd really sort of encourage you, if you ever get to try Midpage, to try that part specifically. So this was the search. I'm going to move over to just reading cases, where we also changed some things. Feel free to add some questions. I'm going to collect them all later. So let's say I'm just going to pick. Yes.
No, I'm going to cut you off. You're almost there, Otto. We have so many questions that for people from Midpage.
Let's go. I actually don't see the questions because I don't have a second screen. That was probably a mistake.
No worries. I'll ask him. Yeah, I'll ask him to you.
Perfect.
So first up is, how does Midpage handle cases that have been made obsolete by new rulings or statutes?
So we show you which cases cite this particular case that you're on, and we're still working on building our own really good citator. We want to make this good, so we haven't released that yet. And we know that some users are still using Lexis to double check things like this, whereas they can use Midpage to just really move fast and do research really thoroughly. And that's like one way to look at it and how many people use it.
Fantastic. Now, I think this is probably a question for everybody who's presenting, but how does Midpage address the hallucination issues associated with LLM polls? And this person had made a reference, obviously, to some of the more recent notable cases where folks have used fake case law in their motions.
Yeah. Great question. So this is a real case. This is not generated by AI. Only this part on the right is generated. And what you can see is they're actually not generated, but they are selected excerpts. So it already shows you where is the real language, and you can see this is in the real case. Nothing is hallucinated. And when you ask a question here, something like this, it's going to answer and always provide you some source quotes, and then you can click on them, and it's very easy to see where does the statement come from, and you can verify.
Cool. What is the case law database that this is built on?
So we built our own case law database, and we're also integrating some sources that like Cordless and others. But this means that you have basically 100% of all state and federal appellate courts, and about 95% of all federal trial courts. And it's like unpublished, unpublished.
I got an interesting question. Can a user upload a list of cases to manipulate as opposed to just searching through your database?
So to the grid, you can add cases just by searching for the citation. You can also upload a document here, and uploading an entire list of cases will be available soon, but it's not yet.
Got it. Awesome. I think we are just short on, or just about to wrap up here. Everybody, please answer the poll. And Otto, I appreciate your time presenting this startup. It is really cool. And I'll probably write you offline. I think this is the coolest thing. So thank you so much.
Thank you.